Hi artists, welcome to our video tutorial on how to paint your little Frankenstein. I'm so glad that you're here with me. I love painting and I hope you do too. So before we get started, there's 4 things that we want to make sure we have. One, we want to make sure that we have a tablecloth down, old newspaper, old wrapping paper, or any sort of tablecloth that is old and is okay to get paint on is great. Make sure that you're wearing paint clothes or an apron. Second is you want to have a cup of water for rinsing out our brushes. Third, we want to have an old rag or some paper towels. Painting can be messy, and it's important that we're prepared for that so we can continue to have fun regardless of any oops that might happen. The 4th thing that we want to do is say the artist pledge. So repeat after me. I am one of a kind. I make art like nobody else. And I am proud of my art. This pledge really brings home the fact that we all make art different and your painting is going to look completely different than mine, and we both should be very proud and happy of our art. So let's get started. I'm going to take us to the overhead camera so that we can see exactly what we're doing. And as we paint, remember that this is just a guide. I'm going to show you how I would paint it, but you're free to paint your Frankenstein however you want. You can use different colors, you can put patterns in there. Just have fun and experiment and enjoy painting. Okay, let's get started. I've got my tray here and I've got my palette of paint or my paper of paint. So we're gonna just keep this all in the video here. I've got my 3 brushes that came with the kit and then my large brush, my large chip brush there. So I'm going to start with purple. I'm going to do a purple background behind Frankenstein here. So I'm going to open up purple and set it on my tray here. Then I'm going to go grab my chip brush so that I can put a lot of paint down. This larger brush helps us paint bigger surfaces, as these smaller brushes can help us paint smaller areas. So I'm going to dip it in water and then just tap most of that out. We just want to get our chip brush a little bit damp. If you've got too much water, if it's dripping, just go ahead and grab your rag and tap it on your rag, and that will help get most of that water out. But having a wet brush can really help us move that paint around. All right, so let's get started. We're going to dip our brush into the purple or whatever color. And I like to hold my little pot of paint so it doesn't spill or tip over while I'm loading my brush up. We want to make sure to have a lot of, we want to make sure to kind of just push our brush around in that paint so that it fills up all of the bristles. So we're going to come out and we'll start painting this back area here. And so just go slow and take your time working around Frankenstein. Working around his face here. And if you make a mistake and accidentally get inside Frankenstein's face, that's okay. Once it dries, we'll be able to paint right over that with the color we want and fix any mistakes. It's important though, when you do make a mistake and your paint kind of goes in places you don't want, that we let it dry completely before trying to paint over it. If we try and paint over it while it's wet, it's going to just start to blend and then it will become the two colors mixed together instead of just the one. Okay, there we go. We've got that done. So I'm going to go wash my brush, tap, tap, tap 3 times on the bottom, swish, 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 and then we're going to tap that water on the side. Try and get most of that water out. Then we're going to bring it to our egg and sandwich. I want to make sure that our paint brushes get clean all the time, after every use, so that we continue to be able to use them, because once the paint dries on our brush, it's no longer any good and we'll have to get new brushes. Okay, next I'm going to paint Frankenstein's face. So I'm going to put the purple away for now. I'm going to grab green out. And I'm going to use my large flat for this. And dip it in the pot. Grab some paint. And then just work our way around, filling in. And now we're going to go right over the got candy. And we can go right over the little stitch marks on his face, because they're scored into your canvas. So I have a special tool that scores or cuts into the canvas to give you the image that you see. And this allows us to paint right over those items and still see them afterwards, so we can come back in with a second coat and add black or some other color. Okay, let's fill in the top of his eyes as well here. Okay, this little guy sure is cute. So for Halloween, what are you going to be for Halloween? Do you have a costume picked out yet? If you don't have a costume yet, what were you last year? Halloween is such a fun time for decorations and costumes and walking around outside trick-or-treating, seeing friends and seeing what they're dressed up as. So I'm going to paint his hair black. And I'm still just using the large flat brush that I have. You could use any brush you want and any color that you want for your piece of art. Okay, we've got his hair, and now the other thing that's going to be black is his eyebrow. So we're going to come in and paint this eyebrow here. He's starting to come to life. All right, I'm gonna wash this brush because I'm gonna switch to my small round brush, my liner brush. So swish, swish, tap, tap. Let's make sure all the water gets out. And I'm gonna switch to my liner brush so that I can fill in the gut candy, fill in his mouth and his stitches. And I'm gonna use black for that. So when you're doing small little items like lettering or just small little lines, take your time, go slow. We're just gonna go super slow and just take our time filling in all the letters. So this little Frankenstein is saying, got candy. We're almost done. There we go. All right, so let's go fill in his stitches. He's got 3 different stitches, 2 on his cheeks and then 1 on his forehead. And I will also fill in his mouth. There we go. So the last part of the Frankenstein is his eyes. So he's gonna have, I think we'll do orange eyes. I'm gonna put that aside. I'm gonna bring my orange out. So he's got this black area. And then we'll have the orange. So just like your eyes, he's got the black pupil, then he's got his eye color, and then the white part of his eyes, just like yours. What color are your eyes? Mine are brown. Okay, so one last thing, I think. We are almost done with our Frankenstein sign. But I think it needs some patterns. So I'm going to add some polka dots to the area around Frankenstein. And to do that, I'm going to show you a quick little trick. We're going to use our large brush. So I've got my large flat brush here, and we're actually going to use the back side of our brush. This is going to allow us to create a little polka dot stamp. So I'm going to just gently dip it in. We don't need to fill, we've just got a small amount of paint on the end here, and then I can just tap and I get this perfect little polka dot. So let me bring that up so you can see that little polka dot. So what we're going to do, a little bit of paint on the end of our brush, and we're going to come out And we're going to hold it upright and then tap. See how we've got those little dots? So those make great polka dot patterns. So we can keep just tapping out. Sometimes you can get 1 or 2 polka dots before you run out of paint. Just remember, you do not need to dip your brush entirely in the paint, just the very end. This is just a fun little thing to do to add some pattern to your sign. You could do stripes. You could use your pencils to draw the lines if you wanted to, or just use your brush to draw some stripes in the background. You could do little bats. Little stars. Okay, and then when we're done, we want to make sure to wipe that end off. So we're going to take our rag and just wipe it off. You can always dip it in the water too and rinse that end of your brush off as well. All right, guys, there Mr. Frankenstein is, Mr. Frank, little Frankie. So I hope you enjoyed painting your 8x10 canvas art. And don't forget that you've got your little stands to display this. So you've got these 2 little stands. They slide together. Sometimes you need to give them a little wiggle. So you've got this great little stand here. And then once your art is completely dry, you can put him in there like that and he stands up. And then you can display him in your room or wherever you would like to display your art. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for joining me in painting our little Frankenstein. And I look forward to painting with you again. We have 2 more art projects in this month's box. We have the blank 5x7 art, canvas art, and So thanks for painting with me today, you guys. I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed your art, and I hope you're super proud of what you've done. And we will see you for the next video. We will see you in the next tutorial. Bye, guys.